Hello, folks, and many thanks for joining us on the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Citizen Jones Hussein, and today on the program, nationwide industrial action looms as Labour serves strike notice over minimum wage non-implementation. Fayose, that's former Governor Fayose, rearraigned before new judge, granted permission to travel abroad for medical treatment, even as the EFCC seeks fresh evidence to nail the former helmsman. Now, kidnapped President Buhari's district head rescued at last, and later on, we'll share this with you. Federal government sacks controversial NHIS boss, appoints replacement. But let's say I'm hanging out with Baba Jide Kolade Utitoju. I greet you, Jide.
I greet you, Citizen.
Olayinka Oyegbile has come out of hibernation. Great to see you.
Thank you, Citizen Jones.
All right, so the team is ready. I hope you are. You know, let's tell you this. A strike-overtired country must brace up for another industrial action. The Joint Public Service Negotiating Council, JPSNC, and the 8 unions in the public service across the country on Monday said its members would embark on an industrial action over the non-implementation of the 30,000 naira new national minimum wage. Acting chairman of the JPSNC, Ancheva Solomon, and Secretary Alade Lawal say they are actively mobilizing members countrywide for the showdown with government. Both Labour and government sides met somewhere in the middle, also we think. They agreed to a 66.66 increase from levels 1 to 6, but could not agree on the relativity that existed in the salaries of officers on grade levels 7 to 17. And now the workers hold politicians responsible for the statement. Jide, we are going round and round in circles. I thought it was a done deal.
Yes.
Ordinarily.
Yes, but the government has disappointed Labour by its refusal to give concrete assurance as to the day that it will begin to implement the new minimum wage, which the president signed into law. It would seem that government many times scrambles into making concessions to Labour based on exigencies and not based on preparation to implement whatever it has agreed upon. We all know that Labour wanted to go on strike on January 8th, and the response of government to that threat to go on strike was to call a meeting. And you remember the eventual decision of the Council of State, where a decision was made that yes, minimum, we are going to pay this minimum wage. This is the amount that has been agreed. But once you have signed the minimum wage bill into law, nobody is interested in unnecessary delay.
Fine details.
Just go ahead and implement. Because, look, this minimum wage, the minimum wage that we are still talking about, should have gone into effect on March 23rd, 2016.
Okay.
So, and by 2022, we should be talking about another minimum wage. That's the provision of the law. It's not simply a statement being made by Babajide. It's the position of the law.
So sometimes
after 5 years, you must come up with a minimum wage.
Yeah. But so we started late, Jide.
We started late because of this the attitude of government to not move quickly. Ideally, we shouldn't have begun talking, because we actually began talking to Labour in 2018.
Okay.
When a new minimum wage should have gone into effect on March 23rd.
2016.
2016.
2 years after.
2 years after, we began talking. So now it's like it is the language of social mobilization that the government understands. That's why Labour is trying to toe that line. That well, maybe when we begin to threaten them with a strike, they will sit up, they will do something. We can't, you can't leave the implementation of the minimum wage in abeyance.
Okay. But Inka, there are some fine details which the viewer will be interested in knowing. For instance, Labour is saying that since the old wage of 18,000 was jacked up to 30, which is about 66.66%, salaries for officers grade levels 1 to 17 must be raised according to the relativity, that exists in the salary structure. Adjusting these things, but government is saying if you go that way, you won't have money to pay.
But that has always been the case.
So why did they agree in the first place? You see, now, you know the reason why Labour is doing what it's doing. There is a law in the civil service which says that government no longer pays arrears.
Okay, if you are promoted and you go to a new scale.
There's a language they use, actual and notional, something. I've forgotten the civil service lingo now. I left the civil service years ago.
Oh, praise God.
Now, there is a language which they use. You can have the actual effect from January, assuming your letter came out in June. They will say that, okay, with effect from January 2019, but with financial benefit from June. Okay. So that means...
No arrears.
Exactly. And that is exactly the reason why the Labour is doing what it's doing now.
Okay, I think I get the drift.
Because if care is not taken, if we continue to drag it from now, I think the law was signed in May, if I'm not mistaken. If the law, if Labour doesn't threaten to go on strike now and it is not implemented, if they start implementing it in December, that means they will, it will take effect from December this year. So that's why Labour is saying what it is saying. After clearing that, and the issue of the grading, of course, that has always been the case. It is not a case of just give them 30,000 and it will go that way. No, they have to graduate it, because if you don't graduate it, the man that is earning 18,000 and you give him 30, yes, you might think it's big money. But someone that is earning 60 and then then the gap will widen further. So there is always a way statisticians and mathematicians
For instance, what I have here is, since it became like 30%, 50% for grade levels 1 to 6, you are saying grade levels 7 to 14 would be a 25% increase. But government said initially 9.5% for 7 to 14 and 5% for 15 to level 17.
You know, as they say, the devil is in the details. The moment, in fact, by now, I expected that government statisticians and whatever in the ministries of labor, in the Ministry of Finance, would have sat down and calculated all what the details will be. And some 3-4 months down the line now that the bill has been signed, they should have come out with the details that, okay, this is what we have come out with. Then it is now left for government to say, okay, let's begin to pay it, and they begin to pay. But now you have signed it. When does it begin to take effect? That is the problem, that if Labour does not come out to say what it is saying now, it may take another 2 years.
Who knows?
If we started negotiating with them in 2018, when this thing should have been in 2016.
You know, a little bit of history, the glory days of the civil service appear to me to have been when you had the super PEMSEX, the
Philip Ayuda
and Bongs and so on. So what had happened with the mechanics of the civil service over time?
No, you see, the Nigerian civil service is a constantly evolving one. And honestly, we had the opportunity to restructure the civil service and position it in a manner that will guarantee greater efficiency. But Nigerian leaders simply refused to do the right thing. What is the point in getting Obasanjo's former principal secretary to work on a reform of the civil service? He did extensive work.
Yeah.
He even extended the work.
I know the man you're talking about. Oronsai?
Oronsai.
Yeah.
He even extended the work to the armed forces. He recommended also that the anti-corruption bodies should be merged. Let's have just maybe EFCC or ICPC, just have one body. Because in any case, they are even duplicating some of the functions of the police.
Yeah.
You know, the police have its own special fraud unit.
Yes.
You know, so, but we refuse to implement the findings of the Oronsai panel. The Oronsai panel also came up with the idea of having PAMSECs stay in the service tenured.
Yes.
So that other
So,
people...
so they won't be that permanent.
Yes, so that directors too can grow.
Yeah.
Because it's a situation in which you have a situation in which a PAMSEC will be there for 10 years.
Because it's permanent.
Because his position is not tenured. If he's tenured, he has 2 terms, for example, of maybe 3 years each. That will allow other people to move through the ranks and grow.
Yeah.
But we don't have that situation. Those powerful PAMSECs, a lot of them actually bribe their way to become PAMSECs. The examination that they write, they bribe their way. God knows I'm saying the truth. And at the end of the day, these were the same people who went after Oronsai for having the guts to come up with such far-reaching recommendations. They decided to put him on trial.
But they couldn't have been responsible for President Obasanjo not looking, at least looking at the recommendations.
No, it's not, you can't even say Obasanjo alone.
It's a normal...
Nothing stops President Buhari, for example, from having a look at it.
Yes.
Dusting it.
Yes, nothing stops Goodluck Jonathan in 6 years from looking at it. Because when you look at the time that he even began the work, you do not expect that, okay, immediately Obasanjo will start implementing.
Exactly.
These things will take time.
Yeah.
You know, because of the far-reaching effect.
But not too
now,
late.
Not too late. They now put the old man on trial. And they knew within themselves that they had no case against the man. Nigerians called Oronsai a thief. EFCC claimed that the building that is building, his only house in Abuja, was product of proceeds of crime. Whereas Oronsai actually got a loan from Union Homes.
Yeah, he said it.
And he presented
the documents.
The deductions on his salary through the years. He presented before the court. And his lawyer didn't waste time. He entered a plea of no bargain. And the old man was released, freed. But the thing in Nigeria is that once you've been called a thief,
you are tagged.
Of course.
You are tagged.
For life.
Whether you are freed or not, people still see you as somebody who stole. Yeah. I've seen people talk about him even after he was freed. And the FCC did not appeal. They still call him a thief.
Yes.
I see people call
Unfortunately.
the young man who was Speaker of House of Reps, Dimeji Bankole. Dimeji Bankole was acquitted. I've seen the people still call him a thief. So this is the thing. We have that, since we are talking about the civil service, the need to take us back to the glory years. We have that Oronsai panel report, the reform.
Yeah.
Nothing stops Nigerian leaders from going to have a look at it.
Some more history. It won't hurt anybody here. Have you ever heard that the civil service started having these knocks when the Muritala government threw everything overboard?
Yeah. Well, That's how many years ago now. You see, the truth of the matter is that I think we should have got over that now.
So let me take Ayodele. Ayodele is reaching us from Oshun. Ayodele, well, good evening, welcome.
Good evening.
How do you do?
Yeah, I need to make a contribution to what you're discussing.
Go on.
See, I think the problem the government is facing is that the civil service is already overbloated, and they are afraid to shrink it. They don't have the guts to do it. And they know that if this thing is implemented now, it's going to put them in serious trouble. Payments will be difficult. Even as now, they find it difficult to pay salaries. So how do they want to do it? That is their problem. They just need to tell us the truth. This civil service needs to be pruned down. It needs to be pruned down by about 50%.
Absolutely.
There is no way out of this. If you don't do this, you can't make a way. That's just the truth. That's just the truth.
Many thanks. You know, and this is after, is after the last Minister of Finance ensured the unearthing of ghost workers.
Yes.
Over 55,000
Yes.
or so.
You see, we always make reference to this when it comes to this issue of civil service. If you have been voted for as a leader, you must take that courage. Not every decision you take will be palatable to everyone.
Yeah.
The example we are always talking about is the Lagos example. Asiwaju Bola Tinubu did it. And the Lagos civil service
during his first term.
During the first term, yes, importantly.
When technocrats would have said, Oga, remember second term.
Exactly. So a leader must be ready to take decisions. Some decisions will be very, very unpalatable. In fact, most great decisions, at political times like this, are always very difficult to take. But it is left for the leader to take that decision. If the federal government or the state government have discovered that, look, we have a bloated civil service, the best thing to do now is to drop the excess luggage. Drop the excess luggage, and then you have some plans of how do we cushion this effect. Because don't forget that the civil service now is a place where some people keep two jobs. I know people, or there are people who are in the civil service who also work or moonlight in the private sector.
Yeah.
Because the civil service, you get to the office, you sit down for some 30 minutes, 1 hour, and so on. You sign the register today that you are here, and then you disappear.
Yinka, you go to many offices, the man's seat is there. You are asked,
he's not on
where
seat.
is Yinka? Oh, he just went downstairs. Meanwhile, he's in Oshogbo. Part of the problems.
Those days, decisions must be taken. The government must sit down, look at the civil service. You have it now. The civil service, things have even been made very easy with the computer. Okay. So you probably don't need 5 people carrying one file from one office to the other.
Yinka, we have company.
That's good.
Tony in London. Tony, good evening to you. Welcome.
Yeah, Tony speaking.
Okay then, let's go.
Yeah, well done there. I do listen to your programs all the time. But the problem Nigerians have is that there are lots, every time you are bringing a lot of issues, table down in front of you, you keep discussing it, laying down some, a lot of people know how to explain things, but we haven't seen anybody who takes up.
Yeah, but Tony, so you don't go away with it. The media's business is to provoke debates like this, and of course you help mold opinion. All right, we'll take a break here and return. Please stay. All right, we left off where we told our brother in London, Tony, the business of the journalist is to provoke debates, help mold opinion, and allow the viewer to make up his mind. Okay then, let's go to another subject matter. Immediate past Ekiti State Governor Peter Ayodele Fayose may yet be a long, long way from home as a free man, following his rearrangement before a new trial judge concerning a 6.9 billion naira fraud charge. Anti-graft agency, the EFCC, rearranged him before Justice Chukwujeku Aneke of the Federal High Court in Lagos on Tuesday. His plea of not guilty was taken, but was granted leave to travel for medical attention overseas. A temporary release of his travel passport was ordered and should take advantage of the July vacation of the benchers. The trip to, for medical examination takes him to South Africa. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Fayose has shown that he's ready to face trial. The ball is firmly in the court of the FCC. At the court last Friday, the EFCC lawyers said they were not ready, that they were here to get briefings from the EFCC. And the judge said, so why did you bring the accused person before me if you are not ready for arraignment? So that was then, the arraignment was then deferred to today. So the truth is, the case had gone on for long under Justice Olatoregun. Justice Olatoregun and the relationship between Justice Olatoregun and Rotimi Jacobs of the EFCC was like
cat and dog,
like oil and water, because Rotimi Jacobs was in the habit of trying to review the judge's decisions, and you cannot, within the four walls of a court, be trying to show a judge that the judge is not brilliant enough. If you want to do that, you do that through your appeal. You can appeal a decision that the judge made, not to be consistently trying to review the judge's decisions. And the judge got angry. Both Jacobs and the judge were wrong. In any case, for a judge, the greatest quality that you have is that you must have is patience. You must be slow to get angry. Because sometimes some lawyers will merely want to make you get angry.
Excite you.
Yeah, so that you can drop the case. But in the case of Fayose, EFCC had brought 13 different witnesses, meaning that the case had gone far. So the decision of the president of the court, Kafarati, to reassign the matter to another judge was wrong, because
we heard
law,
there was a petition.
The law states clearly, whether there's a petition or not, if they've brought more than 2 witnesses, the case, EFCC was going to bring 15 witnesses in all. They had brought 13. That means the case had gone too far for you to now do a retrial. Okay. So that's the point. And the judgment of the Court of Appeal is clear on that and other relevant provisions. But for the Fayose people, since they knew that they had no choice, they just must allow the trial to start afresh, because in any case, Justice Olatoregun will retire in October. So even if they begin to argue, they go to court, they insist that Olatoregun must complete the job. They may not even get judgment on that matter before the judge proceeds on retirement. So now,
and if a new judge comes, the thing begins from
go back to yes. And now the truth is, the judges, the witnesses that you have brought, the things that they said are in the records of the court. So if they alter their testimonies, of course the lawyer can say, no, previously this was not what you said. So they have no choice but to go ahead and let the case start afresh. But it's not good for the dispensation of justice that when a case had gone that far, you now have to go and start afresh. Clearly, the decision of Justice Kafarati, based on the law, was wrong. But we just have to accept it in the hope that the EFCC will get its acts right this time. Because if you were following the matter from the beginning, you will see clearly that those witnesses were merely struggling and struggling. And
Yinka, you know, it is not only Fayose who is on trial.
Yes.
At this stage, you can say, without too much palaver, that the country is on trial.
Yes.
Because the outside world is watching you.
You know, it is this kind of situation that makes the courts to be overcrowded. I mean the judges to be overworked. As Jide has said, the case has gone well beyond halfway. Now, giving a new judge to take over, then you start all over again. Some cases that the new judge will have dispensed with will now stay. It will now begin on this. And so you have a situation where you continue to have cases piling up. That's why our trials take sometimes 20, 15 years to settle. And it takes a lot. And also, the man is going now for medical treatment. Well, we are saying that because of the July break of the benchers, we are not doctors, and we are not the one that will determine it. He can get to South Africa now or to the doctor now. They will say he will spend the next 6 months in the hospital.
Sorry.
We are living witnesses to some of these things that have happened.
Yinka,
Yes.
another company from Kaduna, Dari is waiting. Dari, we welcome you. Welcome.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah.
Yes, may I say that, you see, the judiciary and let me start from the EFCC aspect. You see, if you don't have concrete evidence, then why starting a trial in the first place?
not yet.
And now, like you rightly said, the trial has gone halfway. You are now reassigning the case to another judge, starting all over again. I mean, this is something that is ridiculous. What necessitated the first judge from being transferred from this case? I hope what they are doing is not, there's nothing under the carpet for them to hide. It is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Then let me go back to what you said before. Workers preparing for showdown over the payment of
You are rubbing it in.
naira.
You are rubbing it in.
I mean,
Even.
Sorry about that. You know, time. Yeah. So you were saying.
Now, if you allow him to go to South Africa and he spends another 6 months or more, then that trial is already delayed.
Meanwhile, his passport is supposed to be handed in on September the 26th.
Yes. But you see, the question I always ask myself is, if someone is under trial, especially all these
High profile.
why allow him to travel abroad?
Yeah.
We are already saying that our hospitals here are not meant for them. You know, there was, some time ago, there was some things passing around the social media, whether it is true or not, that they said the president of Russia, Putin, said that Africa is like a burial ground. People steal money, they go abroad to live, and when they are sick, they treat them abroad, and when they die, they bring their body home. Whether it is true or not that is said, is it not
at a
true?
time like you look beyond the pun, you know.
Exactly. So
it.
now, why should a man who is under trial be allowed to travel abroad? Are we saying that with all these so-called world-class hospitals that some of them claim they've built, it is not meant for them?
No, I think that Fauci has shown clearly that he's not prepared to run away. He handed himself in.
Yes.
The EFCC was very childish in the way it was saying that Fauci must be arrested. He must not be allowed to escape. They notified even customs, as if it was the business of the customs, you know, to ensure that people who do not need to travel. But by himself, he walked into their premises. So that kind of person does not look to me like someone who rather escape in South Africa. In any case, Chimaroke Nnamani was allowed to travel in the course of his trial. He traveled and he came back home. He's even a senator now. So if you are given bail, you know, whatever benefits you can enjoy in the exercise of your bail, you should be able to enjoy it. It is the EFCC that has a lot of work to do, because the way the trial has been going, and the way some of the witnesses have been recounting, you see clearly that they have a lot of work to do.
Okay, let the debate continue, as you always say. Gentlemen, but I'm a little worried. Sometimes you wonder if the framers of the book had a point when they said, when a case becomes funny, you decide the thing in favor of the accused. All right, we are watching and waiting. You know, for Alhaji Musa Umar, the song would be Free at Last, Free at Last. The retired customs comptroller, who was whisked away from his house 2 months ago, regained his freedom on Tuesday. Alhaji Musa Umar is, by definition, the district head of Daura, and therefore President Muhammadu Buhari's traditional father and father-in-law to his ADC. Details of the freedom are yet scanty, and it could not be ascertained if any ransom was demanded and or paid, Jide.
Yeah, it's not only in-law to the ADC, he is also in-law to President Buhari himself, because he is the father of Buhari's niece. So that's, I think, Bilkisu.
Okay.
So he's Buhari's in-law, as well as the ADC's in-law.
So it's the double in-law.
Yes, you know, because he's married to Fatima. The ADC is married to Fatima, the daughter of the man who was abducted.
Okay.
So, in-law to Buhari, in-law to Buhari's ADC. It's unfortunate that the man was picked up on May 1, and we are just hearing of his release. I don't want to bother myself about the manner in which he was released.
Whether he was
released by his captors on his own, because that happens many times. The police will claim that they had a gun battle with the people, and then we'll find out that ransom was actually paid. You know, remember the case of the footballer based in Italy? We were told that the police rescued the guy, and the guy came out to say, no, my football club sent money. I actually paid $60,000 to secure my freedom. So this is the situation. The government must do its best to defeat this kind of the kidnapping in our country, because now it's even beginning to affect the high and mighty. So, which is the reason, if it had gotten this close to even the seat of power, to even the first family, then it means that it is already a big problem in our country. Katsina, the state of our president, is rated among the top 3 most violent states in Nigeria, with all the crimes going on there, name it, banditry, kidnapping, and all. So there's a lot of work that is left to be done in the area of security. It's a good news. I'm excited that this man is out, because he served this country as a custom officer. He was a no-nonsense officer here in Lagos, you know. So it's painful that a Nigerian hero has been treated in this manner, you know. So if bandits can come within a kilometer of the president's personal residence in Daura to pick an innocent traditional ruler, then mere mortals like you and I are not safe.
We have company. Olawale, I hope I'm right. Olawale is here in Lagos. I greet you, Olawale. Welcome. Hello, Olawale. Yeah.
Good evening.
Yeah, let's go.
That's my friend. My friend, long time.
Hello?
Go on, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening. We miss you.
They've not been picking my phone. Oh, I want to talk to my encyclopedia.
Please,
Picking my phone.
give them your phone number again before you go.
Good evening.
Yeah, let's go quickly, quickly.
Good evening. I
Okay.
greet you.
Thank you, sir.
How are you?
Please. Fine. My encyclopedia, they've not been picking my phone. Oh.
Oga, let's go. Time, please.
Okay. Please, can I see comment? Can I see? Okay.
There is delay.
Okay, all right. Alawale, better luck next time, but thank you for being a friend of the house. Yeah, Yinka.
Now,
You know,
The
mine
details are
is the freewheeling attitude and the audacious nature.
yes, in fact, that is why it is frightening. Because if with the double relationship he has with the president, it took 2 months to free him or for him to be released, it means that there must be something that we are not doing that is wrong. I mean, such a man was picked up, even in his own self-recognition alone. He is a top man. Talk less of all his relationship with the president and the ADC. So if it took 2 months for him to be released or for him to be whatever it is, whether they released him or he was they paid ransom or whatever, the details are still sketchy. But we must, where they found him, they said it's Panshekara. That's
In Kano?
in Kano, yes. Yeah. That's some few kilometers away from the old campus of the Bayero University.
Okay, yeah.
It's a very small community, a
Environment.
small town and all that. But the question now is it that we don't have intelligence reports? We don't have, what is the essence of this stop and search that the police always tell us they do? Because the essence of it is you look into a car, you see any suspicious movement or whatever, they will ask you questions. But what do we have? In a situation where such a man can be kidnapped from Katsina and they took him
all
the way to Kano, before they get to Panshekara, there are so many places they are going to pass through.
Yes.
You mean in all these places, there are police stations, there are police formation, there are small checkpoints. Is it that
Did they recognize him?
They never suspected that this thing was happening? Or is it a time?
Are we missing anything here?
So how were they able to move him
Are we missing anything?
How were they able to move him from
Katsina
Katsina to
to
because they must
Kano.
have moved him by road,
Exactly.
not by air.
No, of course, it can't be by flight.
Oh.
Whether it is in the daytime or in the nighttime. At that point, security must be beefed up. And every vehicle, and you see, one of the problems that we also have is there are so many security outfits now. Like someone runs maybe a retired soldier or retired police officer. He runs a security outfit. He puts all these siren on it. They are going on the road. They are blowing siren. Nobody stops them.
Yeah.
How are we sure it is not that kind of a vehicle that the man was smuggled in?
Or they had people wearing army uniform.
Exactly.
Because these days, once you see people wearing army uniform,
You see
we don't
someone
want to check
driving Danfo, he has a army cap or belt there.
And a whip.
Don't sweep. Look, the military has degraded itself or our security agencies because there's no way you'll be driving a commercial vehicle, you'll be wearing military cap, you put a military insignia on your car, and a military man or a policeman will see you and will not say anything.
Let's begin to take it home.
And those are the things that cause all these problems.
Yeah. Yinka, let me tell you, even in banana republics, there's order.
Exactly.
Yeah, you did. So we take it home.
It's a good thing that the president's in-law has been released, not his relation, because one of our viewers actually tweeted that the president's relation. No, it's not President Buhari's relation. It's in-law.
But in the African parlance, nine brother.
Abi?
No, not his relation.
No, not blood brother. I understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because relation in this case means is a blood brother.
Yes.
You know, but it's a good thing. The rich also cry. We hope that this will not happen again. We hope that government will be able to defeat kidnapping. They are making progress. It's coming down. It's coming down gradually, especially in the southwest, because of the noise that we are making about this thing. So it's coming down. There is action being taken against them, and we want to encourage them to go on.
I hear Sule Y. Sule is reaching us from Kaduna.
Kano.
Oh, is it Kano, Kaduna?
Yeah,
Kano. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that the Osman will be detained and arraigned because Shekara.
The line is a little muffled. Yeah. So let's bury it now.
Yes. So,
okay, so
we hope that with the concerted efforts that government is making and the security agencies, that we will eventually defeat kidnapping.
Yeah.
It's coming down gradually, and we hope
even though Yinka people are saying kidnapping is an advanced level of armed robbery, that's still debatable. I don't know. You know, after a long drawn-out entanglement regarding the propriety or otherwise of giving him the boot over complicity in official misdemeanor at the National Health Insurance Scheme, NHIS, Executive Secretary Usman Yusuf has been fired. His termination of appointment is coming 10 long months after he was placed on suspension by the Governing Council of the agency. Meanwhile, a new helmsman has been announced for the NHIS by President Muhammadu Buhari, and he is Professor Muhammad Nasir Sambo. Again, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has a new DG, Dr. Chikwe Ihe Kwaza. I hope I got that right. Now, both men are to assume duties immediately. Too late in coming, or it is here at long last?
Oh, it's a good thing that has happened. The president has acted in the right way. Idris was already an embarrassment to the government. At the time when the complaints were flying all over the place over Idris, and even staff of NHIS were up in arms demonstrating against him, many people decided to ethnicize the conflict. Yeah. There's nothing that we do not ethnicize in Nigeria. You know, we even ethnicize rape as a crime. So, but the president got the Secretary of the Government of the Federation to set up a committee to investigate him, and the committee returned a verdict not different to what caused the conflict between him and the minister in the first place, because he was awarding contracts and spending above approval limits. Yeah. And he was doing this just to escape scrutiny from the minister whose duty it was to supervise him. He kept saying, look, it's the president who appointed me, it's the president who can sack me, this and that. But he really misused the opportunity that he had. Look at the insurance scheme. Nigeria has only 4% penetration, whereas Ghana already has 50% penetration. And this thing is designed to make healthcare cheap for you and I, to make healthcare accessible for everyone. And rather than use the opportunity that we've been given, we are busy looking for means of stealing money, awarding phony training contracts and all that, that even across most of the 36 states, such trainings didn't take place. So he really abused the privilege that he got for someone who worked abroad for years. This is not the sort of thing that you expect to see. At least if our people are misbehaving here in Nigeria, those of them from the diaspora, those of them who are trained abroad, who worked abroad, should be able to set themselves apart. I mean, this prof did not cover himself in glory in any way. And when you look at the efforts that the government has made, at least trying to make health accessible to everyone. Look at, he ought to have complemented the health ministry well. Yeah. And we are making progress in some areas. Even AIDS, the prevalence rate has gone down. For malaria too, it's gone down. These are efforts that are documented. He was supposed to complement the health ministry and ensure that our people benefit significantly, but he was busy looking for how to make money and help a lot of his friends. And now he's been given the boot. It's the right decision that the president has taken.
Yinka, sometimes you're wondering if we do these things willfully.
You know what encourages such is because those who have flouted the law before are not punished. With what the president has done now, I hope is setting the pace and telling us that on this his second coming, these are the actions that he's going to take. We are not in any way saying the president should rush to make decisions, because when you rush, you make mistakes.
Yeah.
But it took so long. The man even confronted the then minister to say that he has no power to sanction him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like what the president has encouraged is a situation where a subordinate is disobedient to his supervising boss. If the president had acted at that time, it will have sent a lot of signals. But now I hope with this second coming, the president will be able to show that. Because for me, what the president has now, all along he had wanted to be president. First term, he got it. This second term, it should not be, at the end of his term, it should not be just one of the former presidents. He must make sure that he set the pace that other presidents coming behind him and Nigerians will say that, oh, this man was a nice president. And this is the time to begin to do that, because he doesn't have any other time again.
Oh, yeah.
Between now and 2022.
There will be no third term to make a second impression.
Exactly.
Make a first impression on the second term.
The time to know it is now.
Yeah.
He has to show Nigerians that, look, I labored for this for 12 years.
Yeah.
And I've got it. The 8 years I'm going to spend, I'm going to make a difference. That is what we are demanding of him.
Jide, the name is impunity, and that man must be,
he must
for
be
once,
let go.
he must be hit.
Yes, it's not even enough to
ask him
kick him into touch.
Yes.
He has to be put on trial.
Yeah, that's
He has to be put on trial,
Okay.
to at least to serve, because there are grounds upon which his trial can take place. You know, those contractors that they awarded contracts to, they need to bring them back, you know, and let each and every one of them pay, because the corruption was so evident that the staff were clearly not happy about what was going on. Even if you were trained abroad, such lingo is not permitted here. No.
Not even anywhere in the world.
Not permitted here. Maybe on the street of America you can use it liberally, but not here. You can't tell a minister to fuck off. You know, he was just doing his job. So this is the thing. We hope that the new man and the minister that is to come
quickly
will work together.
Nigeria Center for Disease Control is a critical
very critical
institution.
Yes, but it has to be effectively funded. And they also need manpower, because we need to respond appropriately when diseases break out. Even ahead of the breakout of diseases, we need to have our people on ground. The emergency response team. That is an area where I see us not really doing much. And before you know it, cholera has killed 30 people, 50 people before we take remedial measures. No, it shouldn't be happening. So he has his work cut out for him.
All right,
he has his work cut out
we
for
must pack it all in and leave for the next show. But not before thanking Olayinka Oyegbile. You be coming regularly now.
Yeah, thank you.
After you made your money. Welcome. All right, Babajide Kolawole Otitoju is also here. Did I say Kolawole?
Now your way now.
I'm sorry. Begins with a K. I'm sorry. Kolade. I'm sorry.
Well,
Okay.
Kolade is everything is Kola.
All right, but I think seriously, before we leave, the man at the helm before now at the NHIS must know that doing right will get you results, but doing wrong will get you consequences. We'll leave it there. That's it for the program this evening. And of course, you watch the program on other platforms. We are going to show you on the screen now and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. The feedback channel is the same. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now. Take care.